You talked a lot about your craft and just working on your touch and different things in your game. What all goes into that? Like, how do you discover some of these new windows and new angles off the glass that, like, most guys wouldn't even try, but you're hitting it consistently?
I think some of it has to do with, like, growing up, I always had, like, the ball in my hand, and I always was, like playing around the basket. I always, like, if I'm, like, just on the court, I'll, like, spin the ball off the glass in a certain way. Like, I'm always, like, trying stuff and playing with the ball on the court. And I've basically done that my whole life, so I feel like that's kind of the ease to it. Like, it's just what I've done with the game my whole life and what I've been accustomed to.
And piggybacking off a couple other questions from earlier about your finishing through contact and just tough finishes, like, how do you simulate that in the off season without, like, hurting yourself and, like, staying healthy? Because it seems like I'm imagining you almost like a BMX guy, like going on the foam squares, like when you're launching yourself at the basket.
A lot of times in the summer I go live, so I'm playing with contact. So that when I get in the game, I'm used to it. Now, we obviously do stuff to prevent injury, but we try to make it as physical as we can in the offseason so that I'm used to it.
You guys just had a 10-game streak of shooting 50% or more from the field in tonight. And during that streak and even tonight, you guys have been generating some really good looks. It just didn't fall as much tonight. But what do you feel like has been one of the biggest keys for you guys to get all those good looks, a lot of them open?
Play the right way, play for each other, and we're all being aggressive and playing to our strengths.
And then I feel like a lot of that is also because of the gravity that you've been creating this year. It seems like it's been increased. And what goes into you being able to know exactly where the guys are? Because it seems like you're hitting them exactly where they need it.
We've like, as teams throw different coverages and things at me, I get used to them as well as my teammates. So as we have gone through this journey the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of coverages, and, like, I see them initially, but then they see them on the back end, and they see the windows and where to get open and how to play out of those windows. So I think it's just us as a team getting better at attacking schemes.
So, as much as we talk about the and ones finishing through contact, the other part of that equation is, getting downhill, getting to those spots. And I wonder, because it felt like a couple times tonight, probably more than a couple, as you're turning the corner, it's almost like you're bouncing off of guys, or guys are, like, very cautious as to not foul you because you are maybe more fallible than other players. I just wonder what all goes into turning the corner so easy and just getting downhill as easy as you have been.
I'm not too sure. I've been a guy that's touched the paint my whole career, so I think at this point it's just natural for me, finding out ways how to get my feet in the paint and then make plays from there. Something that I've just always done.
What have you seen from Vasa from this time at the beginning of training camp all the way till now, adjusting to the NBA game?
Yeah, he's gotten better. From day one, we saw, like, Vasa is, like, an extremely smart and skilled basketball player. And when you're smart and that skilled, you can be thrown anywhere and figure it out and have success, and that's what we're seeing.
You have a ball in your hand a lot, and then you dribble a lot, of course, and then but you don't turn the ball over much, and you have a zero turnover today. How do you do that? Like, what is the important thing not to do that?
I try to make the simple plays out there. I try to take what the defense gives me, and I try to not force things.
Shai, you lead the league in steals. 87 total steals, like 27 more than anybody else in the league. And last year you had 112. The year before you had 71. Like, what has changed? Like, what makes you getting this many steals so much easier?
I feel like I'm getting smarter defensively. Like everybody goes into a game with, like, an offensive game plan. Personally, as a player. And I've started to kind of figure out the defensive side of things. I figure out what teams want to do offensively and try to take it away, and then try to pick my spots where I can gamble and be successful.
Is that just mostly through like watching film, or what's like your process?
I think it's just I watch a lot of basketball, so not necessarily film, but like at home, the games are always on the TV.
Yeah.
So I'm watching guys, I'm watching their tendencies. So it doesn't feel like a film session, but I guess you can call it that.
Do you take notes on that, or is that just like mental notes?
Yeah, it's just like just watching the game. Like if I'm watching Chicago and I know DeMar DeRozan pump fake, stuff like that, and he likes to get to the post. So like things like that. Like I'm just always watching and watching for guys' tendencies.
Anybody else? Hey, Shai.